I've actually just remembered something else, which is that everyone that I've met kind of has taken, well, not everyone, but most have was said put me off drugs. I think there was one or two people who I have done a line with, but I was kind of curious to see, how it would affect me, and it didn't. And um, awful, what's wrong with my eyes? Um, but yeah, there was one. When I went into the hospital, into the mental hospital in 2013. I think it was the end of September time, when I first believed that I was Christ, and I sought a crisis center for help because I knew that I was Christ. I knew that things that I'm seeing now are real. It's happening, where you think things and then you go to see what the singers and celebrities are doing, and you find that what they're doing seems to tie in with what you're thinking or things you've done that week or something. I first noticed this. I don't. I think I noticed it around July, August time, and by the end of September, I felt like I was just going completely mad because it was just like it's happening all the time. What's going on? And I went to a mental health, a crisis center for help. They put me in a mental hospital, and they forced me to take anti-psychotic drugs. They're only small, they're little things. I don't think they affected me. They could have been nothing for all I know. I don't know what they were, but it's interesting how everyone warns me off drugs. Oh, of course, for except for mental health doctors. When mental health doctors would force you to take something like that because they think then you're mentally unwell. And believe me, to be actually God, to actually own a planet, and then to be forced into a mental hospital where you wake up in the middle of the night because people are screaming, and you have to put up with this, and you have to know that what you're going through is actually the truth, and that you have to overthink, and then you've got them putting forcing you to take drugs because they think you're mentally ill, and a question. They didn't even question anything. I gave them a big list of all the reasons why I was Christ, and I've ended up in a mental hospital, and it's just like, but the things on the list are the truth. That really annoyed me. Being put in that haunted hospital for 10 days, that was horrible because I knew it was the truth, and yet the people around me didn't, and they couldn't see it, and they weren't willing to listen to me. I spent most of those 10 days with my coat on, standing by the door. Okay, there was two mental hospitals that I went from one place to the next, and they kept saying that they would see me, and when they did finally see me, they just told me that they were going to put me into a different place. But yeah, so that was the only time that I was kind of forced to take the medication that would calm my mind and stop me from thinking. And it's just like, do you actually subconsciously know that you're giving Christ, God, pills to make us stop thinking? I mean, I swear they weren't thinking. But yeah, I felt abandoned in that place. I felt like no one was listening, no one wanted to listen, no one cared. I felt like people were doing things like this behind my back, and that mental hospital did not help. That made me feel so much worse because I had to feel like not only did I have to cope with what I'd just seen over the last few months of this, I don't know, angels connecting with my head or whatever. I also had to deal with it. I knew by them doing that they weren't going to help me, that the world was not going to help me, the people were not going to help me. I knew that, and that was a horrible, horrible time that was.